Awesome. All right. Thank you all for coming today. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And we will go ahead and start with roll call.
Senator Abdul.
Senator Cole calls the business present.
Senate Lead Benitez.
Kennesaw Senate Lead present.
Director Billings. Senator Bing.
Senator of College of Computing and Software Engineering present.
Vice President Bradford.
Vice President Bradford present.
President Brand.
President Brand present.
Senator Coakley.
Senator for the College of Engineering and Engineering Technology.
Senator Coley.
Senator for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences present.
Senator Dixon.
Senator for the College of Science and Mathematics present.
Senator Ganama.
Senator for graduate students present.
Director Hale.
Director of Internal Affairs present.
Treasurer Harb.
Treasurer Hart present.
Senator Ingrando.
Senator for Coles College Business present.
Senator Jackson.
Senator for College of Humanities and Social Sciences present.
Director Lopez. Senator Jones.
Senator for American Minorities present.
Senator McGinnis. Senator Martin.
Senator of Wellstar College present.
Senator Maurer. Senator Mobley.
Senator of Student Athletics present.
Senator Profit.
Senator for Veteran Students present.
Senator Reyes.
Senator for First Year Students present.
Senator Rhodes.
Senator for the College of Arts present.
Senator Robinson.
Senator for Fraternity and Sorority Life present.
Director Snow.
Director of Pursuit Operations present.
Senator Taylor.
Senator for Computing and Software Engineering present.
Senator Trantham.
Senator of Bagwell College of Education present.
Senator Vance.
Senator for Registered Student Organizations present.
Senate Lead Veeder.
Marietta Senate Lead present.
Director Watkins.
Director of Communications present.
Senator Whitaker. Senator Whitmire.
Senator for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences present.
Senator Wright.
Senator for Coles College of Business present.
Thank you. With that, we'd like to look for a motion for the approval of the 66th meeting minutes. Is there a motion on the floor at this time? Senator Coley?
I move to approve the 66th meeting minutes.
That is in order. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Coakley. All in favor? All opposed? This does pass. With that, we will go ahead and move into officer reports. We'll go ahead and start with Dr. Sanspiro, our Dean of Students.
Okay, so what's the safest microphone to use? Thank you, thank you. Of course, I hate having my back to y'all. I'm going to try to find that right angle. Is there a right angle? So, good evening, everybody. How are you? Good. That sounds so enthusiastic. Well, I appreciate being invited and also at being allowed to have a few moments just to say a couple quick words. And I promise I won't take a lot of time because I know you have a lot of important business to get to. But I did want to come and I wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to all of you because I'm presuming you all are aware, and if not, want to make sure everyone does know that this Friday is my last day at KSU, and that it's been 16 wonderful years serving the amazing students of this university. And I am going to miss you all very, very much. But I'm going to be just down the road. So for those of you who are already looking at grad school and maybe thinking of another opportunity, well, you're not going to? Well, there are great graduate programs at both institutions. Or when you start looking at your doctorates, there are different programs at different schools. But anyway, yes, I will be the new Associate Vice President for Student Engagement and Dean of Students at Georgia State University, starting there on Monday, December 2nd. And so the nice thing is I'm just down the road, so I'm close enough that I can still keep in touch with folks, which will be exciting. And of course, I'll still be working with students, and those students will be working with colleagues from across the system. But really, I wanted to be able to just say a couple quick things on the way out. Number one, I don't know if y'all noticed, my flashy socks and shirt match combo, okay? Because I know SGA is a styling kind of organization, and you all have very strict dress codes, so I want to let you know that I'm in sync. But here's the reason why this actually is such an important outfit to me. So many of you know that once upon a time, I was an SGA advisor and a director of student life, and I worked for many years working with SGAs from around the state of Georgia and advised the Student Advisory Council, and my dissertation's written about student government and working with student government presidents in particular. And so as I was leaving Georgia Perimeter College many years ago, because I previously worked at Georgia State and left Georgia State 20 years ago, then I went and worked at Georgia Perimeter for a number of years, and then left there to come to KSU. And of course, Georgia Perimeter is now part of Georgia State. So I'm really excited because I'm going to be back with the two institutions that I formerly got to serve for many years. But as I was leaving, because back in those days, they really did not pay you much when you advised student government, like really not much. And so the student government at Georgia Perimeter knew that I really had this thing for Burberry, but they also knew I could not possibly afford it on my salary. So as I was leaving, they took up a pool and they bought me this shirt and sock combo to make sure that when I was coming to KSU, I could come in style. And so I got to wear this when I came to KSU 16 years ago. I'm amazed I still fit into it, but that's pretty exciting. But so anyway, so as I came into KSU, this was a gift from my former SGA, and so as I share my last SGA meeting with you all, I'm wearing the same outfit for the gift that my former SGA bought me to share with you all. So I know, and of course now y'all are like, we ain't getting you no Burberry now. No, I know, exactly, I can buy my own now, it's all good. But anyway, in all seriousness, you all, as a group of student government leaders, and I've worked with a lot of student government leaders through the years, but I want you to know how important you are, not just to this institution, not just to this state, but to this world, because you really are the leaders of tomorrow. You're the leaders of today here, but you are really the leaders of the world tomorrow. And every SGA member I've had the pleasure of gotten to work with and gotten to know closely, I know the amazing potential you all have. And so I wanted to make sure that you all hear from me as I'm departing what an amazing experience I've had over the last many years working with lots of student governments. But even in this last year, few months, and for some of you a little longer, the incredible experience I've had working with you all, because I know that you're dedicated to serving the students of this fine institution. I know how dedicated and how important the work is that you do. And I also know that there are tough things that need to be done, and that sometimes the administration can't do everything that needs to get done. And if it weren't for student leaders stepping up and doing the hard work and asking those tough questions and engaging in those tough conversations, that we wouldn't be able to get what we need to help support you. So do know that while we can't solve every problem, and I assure you, we do not have all the answers as administrators, but the reality is collectively you all do have those answers, and you've got the right spirit and you've got the right energy to make the difference that needs to be made. So keep up the good work. Keep up all of the amazing energy and spirit and everything that you need to do. And do the tough work as you transition and start thinking about recruiting leadership for the future. Because that's the other really important message I want to make sure to leave. And you all know, it's really hard when you come into an organization where there is so much history that got lost because previous administrations didn't necessarily invest the time in recruiting their folks who are going to come after, as well as creating and capturing that history and those good notes and those good vibes to keep paying it forward, making sure everyone knows how to do the good work as they move forward. And so I know that there was a commitment from the previous administration in the spring, and I know that was one of the things that was important to Carly and to the folks last year was how do we start recapturing that and start rebuilding that. And I know that'll be a commitment that you all have as well. So for any of you who are graduating, if you're not already out there finding your replacements, finding those next great leaders, get on it now because you don't have that much time to do it. So find that next great generation of leaders who are going to come after you and continue your legacy. So thank you all. It has been my absolute pleasure, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the year.
So with that, we'd just like to give a giant thank you to Dr. Sanseviero.
Yeah. And thank you so much for your years of service to SGA. We really appreciate all you've done to help us. Hold on to that. With that, we will go ahead and move into. I know, I'm not going to be using that thing. I'm just going to yell. It'll pick me up. It works?
Okay. Is it working? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right, going ahead and moving into director officer reports, starting with Director Hale.
All right, I'm going to be a little long-winded, but I'll try to keep it short. Remember Secret Santa, to sign up for Secret Santa, that's due tonight. So if any of you guys still want to sign up for Secret Santa, then go ahead and sign up in the link in the business chat. Moving forward, student activities. I met with student activities to discuss a possible KSU formal and a KSU pageant, and they said that they would love to partner with us. So we're still moving forward on that. Please fill out the survey that I dropped in the business chat just to show interest. Send it out to your friends. We're just trying to show some interest in that formal and that pageant. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who attended the internal and external affairs phone-a-thons. From that, we got 49 leads, 5 percentage nights waiting scheduling, and then 2 scheduled, which we will drop the dates as soon as those contracts are signed and everything. Also, I am currently planning the intern meetings for next semester. Next semester, the intern meetings, again, will be open to the Senate, and I really hope some of you guys can show out. We will cover some next steps for the implementation on their projects, which we'll talk more about their projects later. We'll also talk about effective campaigning and how to be a senator, and also how to run for office, obviously. And then a holistic approach to career development, from resumes to asking for letters of recommendation and so forth. If you guys have any suggestions on like other topics we can cover for the meetings, feel free to reach out to me. I'm also going to be meeting with the Center for Young Adult Addiction and Recovery, as well as counseling and psychological services, to discuss like possible changes and everything like that. So if any of you guys are interested in that as well, reach out to me. Furthermore, just covering the Mental Health Week again. Mental Health Week is going to be January 25th through the 29th. The 25th is going to cover the topics of stress, sleep, and academic health. The 26th is going to cover the topic of trauma, inclusive of domestic violence and sexual assault. 27th is going to include addiction and recovery. 28th is mental illness, and 29th is suicide awareness and prevention. I will be dropping a link for you guys to just put information on what events you'll have. Again, this is just going to be your January campus engagement. Forgot the word, sorry. And let's see. Lastly, Fuel for Finals. This is something from JJ. Fuel for Finals is going to be December 5th. Please write that down and remember it. It's going to be a nice little fun time just to kind of relax a little bit before you go ahead and take your finals. There'll be food and everything. It is mandatory. I am so sorry. And end of report.
Thank you. Director Snell?
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to be a little shorter. So first, I hope y'all all had a productive day. and y'all look really well, so I don't have to touch too much on dress code today. So first, this semester I received far too many complaints about the e-board and their activity within the organization, and so for that reason, I have decided that the strikes and demerits that they did receive will roll over into next semester, and I just wanted y'all to be aware of that. The second thing is that e-board members, senators, and interns all alike, I've been hearing too many rumors of bad talking about different people within the organization. That's not something that we tolerate here, so I need that to stop. In order to make sure that stops, what me and governance have been working on is we've been working on a workplace etiquette module. The workplace etiquette module, the workplace etiquette model, the workplace etiquette module will open up on November 25th, which is Monday, the first day of y'all Thanksgiving break, and it will be due December 4th. Failure to complete this by the deadline will result in a mandatory retreat that you'll have to attend in January covering these same topics. What will be covered in the module will be the do's and don'ts regarding relationships, timeliness, professionalism, and different other things that governance comes up with in the time span. The last thing that I have is that our bylaw revisions are starting over the break as well, so if you have anything that you see in the bylaws that you might want changed or you want to offer up suggestions, feel free to send those emails out to me, and I will make sure I respond to you, and we can see how we can work that in there and report.
Thank you. Director Watkins.
Hey everybody, so the event that communications was going to do, Caked Up with SGA, will no longer be taking place in December, and we have instead moved it to February and changed the focus of it. It will now be an event catered to educating people about heart health, because February is National Heart Health Month. So that will take place February 3rd at 7 p.m. We're currently working on different partnerships with organizations to help promote our event in general, and also we're pushing for on that Monday for everyone to wear red, because February 1st is National Wear Red for Women's Heart Health, but that's a Saturday, so on the Monday we're just still trying to have everybody wear red for heart health in general, and we're working on getting some really cool promo items that tie in with heart health and like SGA Goes Red. SGA week will be March 2nd through the 6th. For Monday, we have all of the days are tied to songs. So Monday is Crooked Smile, and it'll be a positive affirmation thing. So people can go around campus posting sticky notes of positive affirmations for everyone. And we also created a hashtag Smile with SGA for people to be able to participate online. Tuesday will be So Fresh and Clean. It's a professional development event. Wednesday is Catered to You, which is our Kennesaw Concerns event that Senator Benitez has talked about. Thursday will be Smooth Criminal, which is a murder mystery night, but it's pending. We might switch it out for a different event. And then either Friday or Saturday, we're gonna have a service event. If it's on Friday, then we'll be working with Senator Martin at her job, which is Adventure Care, and we'd be working with kids. But if we don't decide to do that, we'll have an event planned for Saturday. So anyone, I'll give you guys more information as we get closer about what your participation will look like. And then if anyone would like to just help with the planning, you're more than welcome to come to my committee meetings. Lastly, the newsletter committee had our first meeting yesterday, and it was really productive. So thanks for everybody who has volunteered to be a part of that. Really quickly, we're having 2 issues come out in January. The first issue will come out the first day back on classes, so that's January 6th, and it'll be a kind of a flashback recap issue. It's covering all the major changes that's happened in KSU. And then the second issue, which will be the first official issue, will drop January 31st in the report.
Thank you. San Lead Veeder.
I'd like to thank all of my senators for being on top of everything this. Oh yeah. I'd like to thank all my senators for being on top of everything this month. Everything's been planned. I have to get back with one person about their campus engagement. Make sure you get your officer reports done on time, because we don't want you coming out of the break and then just forgetting. So get those in. If you have to get them in a bit early, do that. Well, thanks, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. End of report.
Thank you. San Lee Benitez.
Hello. I haven't seen some of y'all for a hot minute because I wasn't at the last meeting. So I will try and keep it brief, but I'm doing 2 meetings, so please bear with me. Thanks to everyone who's done their one-on-one so far. If you haven't scheduled it yet, I still haven't gotten around to closing the link. Cough, cough, wink, wink. So please do that before November so you don't have to get a strike right here at the end of the semester. And then officer reports are going to be due on December 1st, so we're letting y'all have your full break all the way up until the 31st. And then the next thing I have is a spring mini retreat. It's not going to be anything extravagant like what we did in the fall. Keep the date January 15th. It's a Wednesday. It shouldn't be long. It'll probably be like during this same time, but more details will come out closer to that date. So please keep that on your calendar because that is mandatory. And then tomorrow I'm planning on going to the Core Ed meeting in Perlman Hall, room 4100. It's from 2 to 3:30. If anyone would want to join me with that, please let me know. They talk about a lot of good stuff in those meetings typically. And then in one-on-ones, I've been talking about committee reassignments, so be on the lookout for that as well. I will, either myself or Bailey will be making a Google form and we'll be sending it out for the Senate to complete. Basically, if you just want to get a new experience with like a different committee instead of just being with the same one for your whole term, you can fill out the form and tell us like why you would want to and like what committee you're on and stuff like that. And it's not a guaranteed, but we want to just kind of check the pulse of everything and see what we can do to kind of accommodate y'all's wants and stuff. And then also shout out to internal and external for y'all's phone-a-thons. It was really nice to be in there to be able to help y'all because y'all know anytime that I can, I want to be there to help all of y'all. And shout out to Benji and Minchies. We're all going to get frozen yogurt later. And then also last thing, something I kind of want y'all to start thinking about and working on is kind of what Dr. Sansevero touched on. I would really love to see like senator-specific transition manuals. Like I know we have the pretty like just quick overview of one, but like if my Cole senators, if y'all know like there is stuff you wish you knew that like wasn't your typical duties and responsibilities, it'd be really cool if y'all like sat in together and like actually made a document that you could pass down to new Cole senators for when y'all graduate or whenever you decide to leave SGA. And same thing for senators who are like don't have partners or whatever in their college. Like I think that would be something really beneficial for future SGA. So yeah, end of report. See me if you have any questions.
Thank you. Treasurer Hart?
Hey guys, so since we last spoke, there's been 3 Senate requests from Senator Reyes, Senator Martin, and Senator Wright that have all been approved. Director Billings also had a request for $32. Those 4 requests totaled out to be $129. And then the only upcoming expenditures I know of are fuel for finals, and that's probably going to be in the ballpark of $100, $125, since her budget is $250 for the year. There hasn't been a SAVAC meeting since we've last spoke either, but the upcoming supplemental funding deadline is the 15th of December for the meeting, the next SAVAC meeting, which is January 15th of 2020. So just be prepared for that. If you have anything that you may want to do next semester that we just don't have allotted for in our budget right now, we can talk about it and help you get those requests submitted. And then just some general notes. Please make sure that your SGA money request for our internal current budget that you want to use funds out of, make sure it's 2 weeks in advance of your event, preferably sooner than that. So if there is an issue, I can get in contact with you and we can change it. Luckily, for the most part, y'all have done really well with like submitting approvable requests. And then if you use the reimbursement method, this is just a note, you won't be eligible for reimbursement of funds after 30 days. So if I approve your request, you buy your stuff, and then you wait 2 months and you're like, hey, I have these receipts, I'm gonna be like, it's not me, it's like the people over me will not accept receipts past 30 days. So just keep that in mind to be timely with your reimbursement method. And then if you're a senator, the column you should select on the SGA money request form is Senator Forum typically. Theoretically, you could have promotion, but I would probably run that through Jess. And then we just want to make note of that so we have an emphasis on the organization and record keeping for the future. And with that, end of report.
Thank you. Secretary Tour?
Hi guys, just a couple of quick things. The first big thing I wanted to say is there's not a campus engagement required for December, so you don't have to worry about that. The second thing is that both of the printers in the office are now working. Make sure you're using the one in the main general area, and you can just get a flash drive, and please make sure that you're only using that for SGA related purposes, because ink and paper cost money, and we don't have a budget for office supplies. I went to the newsletter committee meeting last night that Jessica talked about, and we had some really good discussions on what that's going to look like. I'm really excited for it, and if any of you are interested in joining, we definitely would love to have other people, so please talk to her about that. End of report.
Thank you. Vice President Bradford.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing? I'm gonna try to keep this short, but we're gonna see. So at the Policy Process Council meeting, they was discussing ways to get students to be more engaged with knowing the policies of Kennesaw State University, because students are a lot more engaged than they used to be now. This isn't like just specifically for notifying students, but they wanted me to come back to you guys and see what ways do students like to be notified of things, because I know we don't like emails and people don't typically like long overdrafted things. So just if y'all can come to me with ways that students can care about the policies of the university, because people always want to make changes, but they don't know how to go through those proper channels. Currently, the completed revisions that we've done so far in the council were the update to the university handbook and the sexual misconduct policy. President Brand and myself, we met with President Whitten yesterday. And one of the things that she wanted to just congratulate our students on is just like the ability to have conversation even when you don't agree with people, have intellectual conversation, hear people out on both sides. I know there's certain people who may come to campus, we are a public institution, that you may not agree with what they're promoting or what they're saying, but it's a great look that people in the USG, faculty, staff, and people outside of just the university in general are noticing that our students are able to have intellectual conversation. Even if you don't agree or somebody's barking at you, you're just like, you're able to sit there and take that and just like be an intellectual. So I just want to congratulate our students. Please let your constituents know that we know that we're a high quality institution and our students are very intellectual. And end the report, that's all I got for you.
All right. For my report, I also have a good bit of things. Starting off, we have the Vice President for Student Affairs candidates coming on campus in the beginning of December, the first 2 weeks. They will be making on-campus visits. They will be having an open discussion with students. So you all be ready for that. It's going to be great. We have some very high-quality candidates coming on campus. Having personally interviewed all of them, they are going to make the institution even better than it already is, and they are so devoted to the students. If you all have, please come out to that, because it's really great to see the students, asking them questions, engaging with them, and helping President Whitten make the best decision for the students. So please come and voice your opinions on that. Like Vice President Bradford said, we had a meeting with President Whitten yesterday, and one of the things that we talked about was the meeting that we are having tomorrow, which is the Mandatory Student Fee Committee. And several SGA members are sitting on that committee, as well as several members from outside of SGA. And part of that is just that we act as an advisory board to the president on how the student fees should be changed, how they should be maintained, that kind of thing. And it's a very important committee because we do handle all those fees. So we're very excited about that, and we'll be reporting back on that meeting. That is the first one that we have planned, so we're very excited. I had a meeting for the KSU Athletic Association this morning, and that went really well as well. Director Milton and President Whitten were both there, and we spoke a lot about the future of the athletics program and how we're going to be taking the university in terms of our athletics. And I have to say, if y'all are student athletes, they are taking it in a great way, looking for lots of high-quality candidates, lots of high-quality coaches. It's really going to be exploding on athletics more than it already has. So very positive about that. And we'd really love to continue the awesome engagement that SGA has had with the athletics program because the athletics department has noticed it, the students have noticed it, and they're responding to it. And it's really great. Also, I know several of you expressed interest in the elections committee. If you could please talk to me after the meeting. We would like to get the elections committee formed as soon as possible. They are the ones who form the elections bylaws, and in order to sit on this committee, you have to either be graduating or not returning the next year so that there's no bias. So if you are graduating or not returning in the next year, please talk to me about joining the elections committee because we could really use your input on it. I also, right after our last general body meeting, attended the Student Advisory Council Conference for the University System of Georgia, where I talked to all the university student government presidents from around Georgia, brought some great ideas back. They're all very excited, and one of the biggest things I heard from them is how much more they're noticing KSU, and we're really making an impact on the map more than any other university in the USG right now. So we're getting big, and people are noticing us. So really good ways. And finally, I know we have one more meeting, but to give you all a little bit of time over Thanksgiving break to start thinking about it, and please be thinking about it over winter break. As we're coming to a close with the semester, please be thinking about your goals for the spring semester. And overall, as a senator, what you want to do with the remainder of your time in this position, and what you would like to leave behind, and what projects you want to see through before you hand it off to your successor. Or you run again in order to set yourself up for a successful second term or third term or whatever. So please be thinking about your goals for next semester so we can go and get started and planning about that. And with that, end of report. And we will now be moving into open forum. And so if y'all didn't speak at the last meeting, please speak at this meeting. So go ahead and start off with Senator Vance.
Hi, everyone. Is it on? Hello? Oh, okay. Senator for Registered Student Organizations. So this month was really short for me. I did my campus engagement with Senator, what's your last name? Senator Jackson, sorry. We basically were in social science on Monday, passing out pencils, pens, granola bars, candy to constituents. Yeah, we got to tell like a couple people what SGA does, but most people are like grabbing and go, so. But other than that, end of report.
Anything else? Senator Jones?
Okay, so I'm gonna do Senator Whitaker's officer's report because he can't talk. All right, so Senator Whitaker did, he did a tabling event with Senator Abdul today for thankfulness. He also met to catch up with, because he had surgery this month, if anybody didn't know. So that's why he can't talk. He met with Brandon Jackson to catch up on the MLK committee meeting that he missed, and discussing what ways the NAACP can help with those events. So also be on the lookout for that just in general in January, because we have a lot of great events coming up, and also myself and Vice President Bradford will be hosting the luncheon. I'm gonna say this every time until it happens. So I wanna see everybody there. He helped some of his constituents with getting in contact with Dr. Carrie Butler, that's the Chief Diversity Officer, in order to discuss what ways campus can more accommodate minority students. And yeah, wish him luck in getting better. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you, Senator Jones and Senator Whitaker. We wish you a speedy recovery. Is there anything else for open forum? Senator Reyes.
Center for First Year Students. First and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to Senator Jones, Senator Whitmire, and Director Lopez, who unfortunately is not here today, but on a very successful honey buns with your homeboy. So out of the 100 honey buns that we did have, we ended up only having 2 boxes left, and that's because towards the end, we teamed up with Senator Abdul, and we did a cool event where it was like, whenever you wrote a thankful note, you also got a honey bun, and you met your first-year senator. And in the first-year senator event, we did have a suggestion box, and since I couldn't make it exclusive for first-year students, the suggestion box was open to every student. So be on the lookout if I do send those suggestions your way. For example, we did get a good suggestion for the senator for arts, Senator Rhodes. And basically, it was an art student who goes to KSU, and she was really passionate about a specific issue that had to do with her college. So be on the lookout and a report. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Senator Taylor?
Hey guys, doing? I'll keep it short. I had a campus engagement earlier this week with Senator Coakley. It was a motivational engagement where we asked students to write what motivates them throughout the semester. So that was a really good event. I also had the chance to participate in the phonathon earlier this week. That was pretty fun as well. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Senator Rhodes?
Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Mine's a little lengthy, but I'm gonna keep it short. As far as campus engagements, I'm doing one with the External Affairs Committee this week, based on the notes on the window. So I'm gonna get more into detail about that in the group chat. Mary Kate actually can tell you better than I can. But as far as my actual report goes, me and Senator Mobley are doing a tabling event in December for, she's speaking on athletics and I'm speaking on the arts. So we're gonna be passing out information to our constituents. Anybody who walks past is curious too. We will also be distributing information to them. As far as reports from my dean, got to meet my dean for the first time this semester. He's a fairly busy man, so put the effort in. Conversation discussed on the program of waitlisting, and we also discussed in particular, basically Owl Express. So apparently on the wait list now, if I don't think anybody here knows about the wait list policy, but if there are more than 15 people on the wait list, they will create a whole new section. So he gave me more information on that. So for anybody that has been on the wait list for longer than you will get added into a new section, or they will inform you of a new section. He also discussed that there will be more art buildings being built currently. They are currently moving everything from one art building to another, so that is one thing I will express to my constituents. He has plans for further involvement involving SGA. He would love for us to come to the theater events, if you all would be welcome to do that. He said you all were more than invited to the theater event hosted by him or anybody in the art field. And yeah, he's formally invited us to a block party. That is all.
Thank you. Senator Wright?
Hello. Coles College Senators are having a campus engagement tomorrow from 1 to 3. We paired up with our advising center, so we're just really going to be educating our constituents about what the advising center can do for them, because not that many people know everything that they can do for them. So y'all should come out, because I'm sure these advising centers are very similar with the different colleges, and we'll have pizza. So end of report.
Awesome. Thank you. Senator Coakley?
Senator Coakley, I'll try to keep this one quick. So a couple of weeks ago on that Friday, I had a meeting set up with the president of KSU Motorsports. He got caught in traffic, and I was like, well, dang, I told work I'm going to be having a meeting. So since then, I've made it my mission to introduce myself to each one of the department heads in my college. We have 7 department heads. I've met, I think, 5 or 6 or something like that, but there's still a couple missing. So I've done that. I had the chance to meet with one of our assistant deans, Dr. Louder, and she's over like UPTC stuff in the college and all that stuff. What else did I do? Oh, I had the chance to speak with our parking director. I told you guys last Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays ago, something like that, that the parking situation in our west deck had changed, where they kind of moved all the student parking into faculty parking without notification. So I spoke on the phone with, it was Joseph Madison with parking, and he was like, yeah, we did that. And for all of you Kennesaw Parkers, anybody in Central, they're going to be doing the same thing on Central. So the first floor is going to be completely gone. You're losing 63 spots. What's it called? I went to Hoop for Hope, and that was a little cool thing. That was Senator, or Doc, whatever, Mary Kate. Campus engagement, of course, Senator Taylor mentioned it. I went to Lou's letter meeting for a couple minutes, and I had the chance to speak with my dean on a very light note. I was studying for a test that I should have actually been in, and he was like, what's up? And I was like, I got to go to the test. That's it.
Okay. Just a couple little notes before I hand off to the next person. Just a reminder, you are required to meet with your dean twice a semester. So please try to meet with them. I know that they are very busy. Believe me, I know. I was school senator last year. They're way too busy. But just as a reminder. And also in regards to the parking situation, we've mentioned before that right next to the student center, in the faculty lot that's right across from the Burris building, they're going to be removing that in March. So that's a whole bunch of faculty parking that they're just uprooting to put a new building in. So just kind of as an explanation to the faculty parking being changed around a little bit. They're trying to make up for those spots. And with that, is there anything else for Inform? Senator Ingrando?
Senator for Coles College of Business. I had a meeting last week with Larry and Diane Gillen. They are representatives for the Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They run the Out of Darkness Walk, and I reached out to them because I was curious about if they were able to do that with the Mental Health Week, but the date's already set for March 22nd. It's at the Perch this year, in case any of you guys knew about it last year. I'm working with the grad student for the psychology department who basically had to run the whole thing herself last year, and I told her I wanted to help, and she was psyched. Pun fully intended. I'm also reaching out to the LRJ Foundation because they've been wanting to get in work with Kennesaw more, so this way they have the opportunity to help out, and that's all.
Thank you. Anything else? Senator Trentham?
Okay, so I got to meet with my dean earlier this month too. She's so sweet. One thing, or there were a lot of things she wanted to focus on. One thing in particular was freshman engagement, just getting the freshmen aware of what's coming up their next 4 years of college. And then there's more grad students than there are undergraduate students in the College of Education, which is interesting. So I would love to partner with you on that, and Senator Ganama. And like do an event or something to help them out. She wants me to create a student advisory board, which is going to be hard because the College of Education is comprised of so many different things, but just to help assist her in how she can help our students. And then December 9th is our education closing meeting, so I'm going to be speaking there on how student government can support them, how I can support them, and just giving them motivation for the next semester. End report.
Thank you. Senator Jones?
Okay, really, really short, but Senator Whitaker and I have 39 applications for our Minority Student Advisory Board, and I just wanted to extend that opportunity to any of the interns here to feel free to apply to that advisory board. I'd really love to work with you guys as well, so if any guys want to do that, talk to me after. That's it, end of report.
Thank you. Senator Reyes?
Senator for first year students. So just because Senator Lee Benitez called me out earlier, but on update on the Menchie's thing. So when we spoke over the phone with the owner, it was him and his wife and his wife, and basically he said that it's going to be in 2 to 3 weeks, and we decide the date when we wanted to do it, and it's going to be 20% of all the sales that they have for that day, and it's going to be the situation is you go and you buy your frozen yogurt, and then you say you're from student government, and it's going to be all proceedings for for that day will, of course, go to KSU Miracle. And so just, I guess I'll drop the date in the social chat, but I just have to check in with Mary Kate to see when is the official date, but just be on the lookout for that.
All right, thank you. And with that, we will go ahead and move into new business because we have a long piece of new business this evening. We have the intern projects tonight and a Senate nomination. So we will go ahead and get started on that. The interns have been working very hard on their projects, so we're very excited to see what they have. There you go.
All right, just as a quick little refresher, one moment. Okay, sorry. So just a brief overview of what's about to happen. So as you guys probably know, the interns have been working all semester on a project pertaining to one issue that they find pertinent on campus. They've found that issue, looked into it, and then are now presenting you guys the issue and the solution. If any of you guys are interested in the particular topic that they're covering, please speak to me after, or please speak to that group after, because they could really use your help on all of this, and they've worked so hard on everything. So I'm going to call them up, and they're going to introduce themselves, and then we're going to go through each of the PowerPoints, so you guys can come on up. So I am having all of them introduce their college/major, as well as a position that they are interested in SGA. So just take notes if they call your position out.
As many of you already know, my name is Thomas Cassidy. I'm a political science major, and the two seats which I would be most interested in would be College of Humanities and Social Science and the Director of Procedural Operations.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jackson Paulin. I am a biology major and a Chinese minor. I am interested in the Senate seat for RSOs and science and math, the College of Science and Mathematics.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dunia Marabi. I'm a nursing interest major. I'm interested in the seat for the Wellstar College as well as the Honors College.
Hello, I'm Moses Valdez, and I'm a finance major, accounting minor. And also, I'm interested in the Senate seat for the Coles College of Business and the e-board seat of treasurer.
I'm Sam Brown. I'm a political science major, and I'm interested in the Senate seat for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences.
I'm Lan Su. I'm a mechanical engineering major, and I am interested in a seat for the Southern Polytechnic College of Engineering and Engineering Technology, the Honors College, and possibly an Asian student's seat in the future.
Hi everybody, I'm Anta Malik. I'm a biology major with a mathematics minor, and I'm interested in the Senate seat for the College of Science and Mathematics.
Hi, I'm Mariah Beach. I'm a psychology major for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and I'm most interested in being Director of Internal Affairs.
Hi, I'm Diana Garcia. I'm computer engineering major in the College of Engineering and Engineering Technology, and I'm interested in the Senate seat for the College of Engineering and Engineering Technology.
Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Johnson. I am a marketing major in the Coles College of Business, and I'm interested in being a Senate for the Coles College of Business.
Hello, my name is Raj Parekh, and I'm a civil engineering major. I'm most interested in the Senate seat for the College of Engineering and Engineering Technology.
Hi everyone, my name is Sitlali Solis. I am a political science major, and I am most interested in the Senate seats for College of Humanities and Social Sciences, as well as American minorities.
Hi, I'm Angel Jones. I'm a business management major, and I'm most interested in a Senate seat for fraternity and sorority life.
Hey everyone, my name is Benjamin Reyes. I'm a political science and international affairs major, and I'm most interested in Center for First Year Students.
I think first up we have Dunya, Moses, Thomas, and Jackson. So.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Class registration can be a real headache. Unexpected class changes is one of the worst problems a student who has been registered for classes can face. And what can add to what can make the problem worse is these changes happening without our awareness. What our group over the past couple of weeks has found is Kennesaw State University Kennesaw State University needs to implement a program that notifies students when class changes occur. Here's a brief summary of what we're going to go through in our presentation. First, we will tell you the problem. Second, we will show you how this problem impacts our students. And third, we will outline in detail our ideal solution to this problem.
All right, so the first thing that we really want to establish is why we're here, why we're talking to you today, and why any of this is relevant. So essentially, in the shortest and sweetest way we can wrap up, the issue that we're facing is that students are registering for courses and very often find that on the first day of class, something that they have signed up for is different, be it there is a different leading professor, you're meeting in a room that's on the opposite side of the building, your course time is maybe changed, or in some more extreme cases, you face like having a new prerequisite being added or some other level issue similar to that. In this, we have really looked at the aspect of it where the difficulty in this, where you are signing up for something that you are later not receiving, is kind of comparable to, it's a somewhat goofy example, but you go online and you buy a gray t-shirt, and then a week or so later, a shirt comes in the mail, but it's blue. Sure, it's similar enough, and you might be okay with it because, you know, at the end of the day, a shirt's a shirt, but you still didn't end up getting what you had paid for. And now you're making a hassle to get a hold of what you had paid for in the first place, which is in itself problematic. And when you compare that to the context of the situation where students are paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for a course, and you're not getting what you signed up and agreed to on the first round, there's a disconnect and something needs to be looked into further about that.
So with this being said, after we decided that this was a problem within our group, we decided to figure out if this was, you know, a school-wide problem, because you don't want to do a whole solution without making sure everyone had the problem. So we decided over the course of 2 weeks, we have conducted a survey asking this question: have you or somebody you know experienced an issue where changes were made to courses after you registered for them? So in conclusion, our survey concluded that 64% of students have had a problem with registration. So we further took this problem and we decided to then ask a follow-up question, because we wanted to decide that certain problems we can't change. Like, we can't change that a teacher is going to be changed, because that's a university problem and there's not much we can do there. So after we submitted the survey, we decided to ask a follow-up question to make sure, like, specifically, what is the solution to this? So a lot of students came back to us. Almost over 90% of students came back with the problems with the specifically problems with the notification system. They were having a problem with being notified of their changes.
Right, and as for our proposed solution, we were thinking about implementing a system within OWL Express that'd be able to provide notifications for each of the students for the classes they've registered for. And basically, this would do is that, say if a detail in the class has changed, like the professor has changed, or the location has changed, or time has changed, or in a more extreme case, the prerequisites may even change, then the student would be able to be notified as soon as this happens, so then they'd be able to take an active decision what they want to do with the course. And along with that, we want to focus that like they will be able to like kind of opt in to the types of notifications they can receive. So they can we'd let them decide between email notifications, text messages, calls, or whatever, however they decide basically. And then more importantly, we do want to kind of ask for support from Director Watkins, Director Billings, and Director Lopez, because we believe that with your support, we'd be able to like go through this better, because we believe it falls under your jurisdictions.
And so in order to ensure that we can really like get this off paper and put this into effect with the greatest chance of possibility and accuracy, we felt like we needed to create like a generalized roadmap. And while we do understand that this is not all encumbering and that this is not going to be the full extent of everything that needs to be done, it does provide just like that rough outline of what we expect the process to be like and allows us to have a means of like measuring our progress and actually achieving this. So that kind of starts with us making contact with UITS to determine, is this an issue within your department that we might be able to solve? Would this be on a relatively more local scale? Is there a different department within KSU that we would need to work with? Or if it is unsolvable on the Kennesaw side, do we need to work with USG or potentially contact the corporate company behind OWL Express, which would be Ellucian? From there, once we have contact with whatever body is most appropriate, we would plan to draft like a demo version of this basically, where we would function to kind of advocate for the features that students have pushed for, being like specific notifications, what those notifications would be for, and how they're dispersed. Additionally, we would really aim to have this in at least like a trial version by the coming summer semester. That way, once this is in effect, we can use that shorter semester to determine, is this something that's being effective? If not, what needs to be done? Is the system working in its intended way? Are there bugs within the program? Anything of that nature. And moving from summer into fall 2020, we would continue to look at fall as like a full release where we are still monitoring student opinion and seeing what do students think, what can still be added to this program, and what in it might need to be changed from what it already is. And from there, that will lead into the obstacles that we expect to face.
So like, again, like along with bug fixing and whatnot, another big obstacle we need to face would be to go more in depth in who we have to contact. So say if it is with UITS, we may need to go through a certain contractor because KSU might be legally obligated to work with a certain contractor depending on whatever KSU has set up. Or potentially we may even need to go through the parent company, Ellucian. So because we're only like, again, interns, it might be a little difficult to go through like Ellucian to try to get them to make a change because we never know. Because DegreeWorks is not something only used by Kennesaw, it's used by other schools in the university systems of Georgia. It might have to be a corporate level change. But either way, like they will probably have good questions, but with your support, we believe it'd be a little better like to convince them.
So something that will offset the cost, of course, is certain benefits that this notification program will give us. The first thing is an increase in overall graduation rate on time. So a lot of students, they're unable to register for certain classes that they need for graduation due to their classes being changed or not enough seats in a certain course. However, with this notification system, they can be notified of changes and they can react accordingly and help them with graduation. So when you have people graduating on time, you also have the students who are able to keep their same teachers with notifications of in the system. They'll be able to notify that this certain teacher has like a new course, or this certain teacher is continuing this course or opening up a new section. So that will really help them increase their grades because they're more comfortable with that certain person. And with the grades increase, they will be able to like maintain their scholarships because the grades will, be able to stay the same or increase a little bit. And the last little piece would be a university-wide benefit, which would be decreased workload on the advisors. A lot of advisors right now are required to notify students about certain changes. And instead of having them worry about like the little things, we'd be able to have them be able to focus on advising the students on more like in-depth problems. And so with that, we open the floor to any questions.
Coakley? Or Coley, excuse me.
Hey guys, Coakley is fine. That was a really great presentation. As from being an intern last year, I really wish I would have stole this idea because this idea is a lot better than what I had last year because this is amazing. This is, as someone who has now become a junior and now actually having classes where there's only 35 seats and those seats are already closed by the time I actually get to it, it would be really, really nice and beneficial to have notifications come through if there's other class openings or anything like that. Quick question, was it mostly underclassmen, like freshmen and sophomores, or mostly juniors and seniors that you surveyed?
The surveys that we took, we distributed that through like various like group meets that we're in for our individual courses. So there was a larger population of underclassmen. However, we did try to get this distributed to like upperclassmen by just like, I stood outside the library one day and just asked people if they would fill it out on my phone. So we got like roughly 60 to 70 responses that way. So yes, it was fairly mixed, although it is kind of hard for us to have like an exact number.
Cool, thanks.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Vice President Bradford?
Yeah. Hey, Vice President Bradford. I loved it, great presentation. I would say with gathering data though, it would be better if you can so say it's primarily underclassmen that you surveyed, and I understand it's primarily who you know, but if you can find a way to separate who you survey, are you a senior, junior, sophomore, freshman, fifth year, you know what I mean, or graduate students, and then we can actually see where the problem is mostly, because now we oh, wow, that's a big problem, but it may be a big problem for underclassmen, and now we're thinking it's a big problem university-wide. So it's just moving forward, looking at that way to get your survey more in detail. But other than that, great.
And that's definitely something that I think we can address and moving forward and producing further questioning and surveys and everything like that. Senate Lead Veter?
I'm just curious how in-depthly you surveyed the other campus as well?
Well, we did have students in the through the group meets that we did sample. They were students that we know come to Kennesaw Campus. However, just on personal notes, we do know that some of them are primarily on Marietta, but they do have to come over here for some of their gen eds. And so again, we don't have an exact number of how many, but I would fair to say that Marietta was most likely underrepresented. Any further questions? Director Hale?
I have something a little off topic, but and then something back on topic. When you stand up, please say your name because the interns don't really know all the names. However, you were doing a very good job at knowing people's names. I'm proud. Second thing is I just want to say great idea. I'm not going to pretend that I don't know this idea, but I remember getting a B in a class just because last minute I show up and it's a totally different teacher, and it sucks. So I just wanted to say good job on everything.
Senator Abdul?
Oh, so yeah, I think this is a great idea because like as a senior, I struggle getting classes. So I was just wondering like, is this like college specific or did you just like stand in the middle of the campus and take a survey?
With the survey, we kind of dispersed it in two ways. One was just through the various group meets that the four of us are associated with for our courses. So being underclassmen, a lot of us are still in gen ed, so it's kind of random from various buildings. And then when I did like a personal survey of like, hey, grab my phone and fill this out real quick, that was in front of the library. So that was just that was from an assorted standpoint. That again, it's a little hard to be able to differentiate. Senator Robinson.
Boom. Senator Robinson, Senator for Fraternity and Sorority Life. Now that you presented your project, would you be interested in redistributing the survey since majority of us are upperclassmen?
Mm-hmm. That is something that we did consider, like even while we were constructing this. It was just unfortunately due to like time constraints, it was like, we have to get something on paper, even though we do know that this survey, kind of as we looked back on it, we knew that we could have made it a little bit more inclusive and that there were definitely aspects that we could have improved upon. But in moving forward, we would definitely be willing to like reconduct this, and if we had the time to, jump in a time machine, we definitely would.
Gotcha.
So an idea we were kind of looking into earlier was just having a QR code of a file, a folder in OneDrive, where like you can just kind of scan it. It would open up a folder, and it would have a link to the survey and a link to a link to the survey and a picture of a QR code that would link to the survey as well. If you'd like, we can get that QR code back up and kind of show it to you all, so you can just kind of scan it and then have that folder available to everyone.
I support this.
Back to Director Hale, and then I'll come back to you real quick.
I did distribute all the intern surveys through all of my classes as well as all of my separate group meets that do have only seniors in them. So there's some seniors thrown in there. You guys just don't know it.
Any further questions or comments or anything? Senator Whitmire?
Hi, y'all. So this is a great topic. I'm really glad that y'all are tackling such a pertinent issue. I have one big concern, and it came up in the obstacles phase of this, and I just really want to know essentially how y'all came to this conclusion, and essentially y'all picking this is the best way to phrase it, is picking a fight with the parent company that KSU is contracted with. I want to know how y'all came to that conclusion that might be necessary for it to be a company-wide change in regards to DegreeWorks and Owl Express. And I want to know how y'all would go about actually doing that and what the fight would even entail.
Mm-hmm. And to that, we looked at it of like, is this something that could be solved on Kennesaw? If not, where would it move to? And then it kind of fell between, it would either be in USG's hand, or it would be, you need to contact the company and be like, hey, this is something that we're noticing and we think might need to be implemented. If we do have to work alongside of the parent company being Lucian, it would, as we said, it would be more difficult because on a corporate level, corporations are always kind of hesitant to change. So our current idea is that if we do end up needing to work with them, we would be contacting primarily with Director Billings being an external to kind of figure out like next steps on how to best organize ourselves and kind of get onto paper exactly what would be necessary to challenge that. Because at the moment, we are unfamiliar with that. That's unfamiliar territory for most of us in dealing with like mega corporations. So, and as of right now, I don't know, but professionally, we're working on that.
Thanks so much.
All right, so due to time, I'm gonna wrap it so that we can get the next group up here and hopefully leave before tomorrow. If anyone has any further questions, let me know.
Hey, Vice President Bradford, real quick. For the next intern groups coming up, we know that you most likely don't know everybody's name in here. So it's okay if you point to whoever is asking a question. If you point, just stand up and say your name and your position. Just, make everything simpler.
Hello, everyone. Jordan Johnson again. Today, we will be presenting to you our intern project. It has to do with mental health and sleeping on campus. Next slide. So first, I just want to read off this fact to you guys. A 2015 report shows that the need for counseling among students enrolled in higher level institutions has increased 30% since 2009, which is about a 10-year gap. And in 2015, CUNY conducted a survey of students between the ages of 18 and 30 to ask them about their sleep patterns. More than 18% of our students suffer from depression and 20% from anxiety. So basically, depression and anxiety are very closely linked to sleep. If you do have depression or anxiety, it may be due to sleep, but it can also not be due to sleep. So next slide. So real quick, before we get into our research, I just want to show you guys the contributors towards lack of sleep on campus. We have long hours spent inside of a car, so this time basically, it's basically for the time you have to take to get to school and the time you take to get back from school, so that's a long time in the car. Job responsibilities and clubs, that takes up your day as well as your classes, and class timing. While we do have the freedom to make our own schedules, we don't have the freedom to pick whenever we want to take our classes, so that's also a factor.
So why we chose to target commuter students in our research is because we found that roughly 80 to 82% of our school's entire population are commuters. So with the given time constraints as well as the active responses on the surveys that will later be introduced, we chose to target the majority. So we were able to meet with the senior coordinator of the Office of Adult and Commuter Student Affairs, Veronica Jones-Sheehan, and she initially said that the main goal for the office is to provide a place for particularly commuter, but not limited to commuter students, to go in between classes so that they do not have to make that long commute back home or wherever they would go in between classes. So it just gives them a space to stay, study, sleep. And to show the success of the office, she was able to tell us that she receives about 300 to 400 visits in the office per a day, and about several thousand per semester. So that would just show the success of the office given the goal. And so she also, given the topic of our presentation, she has also observed about 3 to 4 students daily sleeping in the office. And she was also open to instituting our solution and was eager to begin the process.
Hi. Okay, so basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to show you the correlation that sleeping has, especially with commuter students. Most of the times, if they have a class at 8, they have to get up at 7, they'll be able to make the drive and find parking, this, that, and the third. But sleep is actually important. So we've done research and we've figured out that sleep affects not only your health, your well-being, and most importantly, academics. And with all of us here in college trying to get an education, trying to succeed in life, academics is one of the most important things that we have. So next slide, please. Thank you. So we did a survey that was focused mainly towards commuter students. Like we said before, commuter students are majority of our population. So basically what we figured out is that on average, student needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. And on red, it shows that most of commuter students are getting 5 to 7. So majority of them are barely getting the number of hours that they need. And next slide. So basically, not enough sleep can cause weakness in the immune system. When that happens, that means you're sick. So a lot of sick days, a lot of time that you're in the Wellstar office because you're just not feeling well because of cold and stuff. So it increases the chances of getting sick, and students who have 6 hours or lower of sleep have lower GPA than students that get 7 to 8. So again, that's just focusing on like how sleep correlates with academics as well.
So basically, students who don't obtain the necessary amount of sleep, 7 to 9 hours, they suffer long-term and short-term effects. This can be suffering on their academics or other extracurricular activities. Yeah, so students who don't acquire the 7 to 9 hours of sleep, they typically sleep on sleep in public areas such as benches or different offices, and it basically sheds a negative spotlight on our university and makes us less attractive. Next slide. So our big solution is sleeping pods. It's more of a modern solution, and this is basically one of the versions looks like. There are other versions available at University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, Savannah College of Art and Design, Georgia State University, and essentially it's a big dome-like structure. So to get in it, you basically open the dome-like structure and it wraps around the unit, and one gets in it and then closes it, and basically they can go to sleep or just rest, essentially. So other universities on a national level that have the sleeping pods are University of Miami, Wesleyan, Stanford, Washington State University, and James Madison also has their own version of this. It's called the NapNook, and they registered close to 3,000 times used within their academic year, which is pretty awesome. And some big companies also use these, such as Google, NASA, and Zappos. Sleeping pods, could you go back to the last one? Thank you. So nap pods, or sleeping pods, they're basically chairs that allow users to take a quick break within his or her hectic day. And it's a dome-like structure that provides sanctuary for one to regain their energy. And it's $5,000 to $10,000 per unit. And the price essentially varies depending on the manufacturer and the features that are implemented within the pod itself. So possible locations that we researched to basically implement these sleeping pods are the Adult and Commuter Affairs Office. And we talked to Veronica Sheehan, just like my partner said, and she was extremely interested in facilitating this process throughout, and she was very enthusiastic about it. Other possible locations include the loft, third floor of the Student Center, and also the library, and we are also discussing other locations as time passes by.
So we do understand that the sleeping pods do come with a hefty price tag, so we have provided somewhat cheaper alternatives, and this would be a designated area of a chosen location that is designated just to sleeping. So as my partner mentioned, like James Madison has a version of the sleeping pods, but it's a NapNook, in which they include not sleeping pods, but cots, and they're vinyl. So that would be one cheaper option, but it would also include recliners as well as bean bags. So safety measures that would be taken if they are instituted, while the students are napping, there would be lockers provided so that they could put in their belongings so no one steals anything while they are taking a nap. They will also be required to make, and this is taking for examples from universities that already have these instated, they will be required to reserve the rooms prior. So like how the library already has the reservation system for the study rooms, it would be the same exact way for the nap rooms or the sleeping pods. And they would be required to tap in to ensure that the person that reserved it is the person that is tapping in. And then if we were to have to take extreme surveillance measures, we could look into security cameras or a security guard, and for, I guess, health concerns, we will look into disposable sheets and pillows.
And just to wrap things up, we basically just did all this research and we looked at all these facts and basically did this project just because we do care about the mental health of students on campus, more specifically community students, but all students on campus. And we just want everyone to be aware that this is a problem and that while you're getting your education, this is something you should worry about as well. And any questions?
Senator for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Whitmere. So I really like this topic, and I felt like I was specifically getting called out in the in the data points. So, but all I want to know is specifically how many sleeping pods are used on those campuses that you mentioned. Specifically, I believe it was SGA, University of Georgia, and Georgia Institute of Technology, and just how many sleeping pods are on those campuses in total.
Good question. So UGA and Georgia State, the sleeping pods, I believe they each have one. But SCAD has about 5, if I'm not correct. I can look into it later. And so yeah, SCAD I think is the one that provides the most in Georgia.
Thanks so much.
Okay, great presentation, y'all did awesome. I do have 2 questions though, and Senator Martin, Wellstar College, sorry. Obviously the cost, because even if there is only one on this campus, $10,000 is a lot to drop instead of just going to sleep in your car or just going home, however long you live, if that's reasonable for you. So I guess my question is where is this funding coming from for this project, and what makes this more realistic than just going back home?
Right, so great question, thank you. So budget obviously was a major concern for our group when we looked at the price tag, and we spoke with Director Hal for potential sponsors, and we will be looking into that further on in the process.
And then you brought up that it would have to be reserved, and with small numbers of that, you even gave the example of library rooms. So I'm not sure if y'all are aware, but if you want to work in a library space, you have to pretty much reserve it no less than a week in advance, and you can still only book for 2 hours. So in cases like that, the library still has 4 other floors where you could go and get your work done. With this, and there only being a small number, what is there going to be an alternative for people who are not able to reserve? Because again, it's going to be small number, and I'm assuming high demand.
That would be something we'd be looking into after the trial run. So we'd work on instituting a few at the beginning, seeing the success rate of it, and then working to look into those issues.
Hey, Vice President Bradford. Love the topic, I really do. My only grievance really is the way that you guys collected data. So you said that 80% of students are commuter students, right? But a lot of students live at U Point or West 22, U Club, SOVA, which is down the street. So what I would have done was get a radius, because even though that is considered a commuter student, you're off campus, a lot of campuses are bigger, and that's would count as on campus many places. So I think that would really affect my sleeping schedule. So you should have got a mile radius. So if you're a commuter student who lives maybe 15 miles away from campus, and then got more boots on ground, and then you can see okay, is this really a problem? Or majority of people, commuter students that are 15 miles away, 20 miles away, that it's actually affecting their sleep, instead of oh, well, if you don't live in ARC, KP, or UV, your sleep is being affected. You know what I mean? So I don't know the numbers specifically on that, but a little more boots on ground, sample size, things.
Okay, so that was just one of the questions that we had on the survey. Of course, there were a lot of others. And one of the questions was how long do you spend and how many hours do you spend driving to school, or just a number? And most of them, I will have to say, was more than 45 to an hour of people that, at least that's the data we had for our survey. People are spending 45 minutes to an hour coming to school. So we, like you said, we did see people that were oh, it's just 10 minutes, or oh, it's 15. But for the most part of the people that we saw, they were driving a long distance to get to school.
See, cool. So if you have that data, that's the data I would have presented. You know what I mean? That I understand 80%. It shows an inflated number. Yeah, this is a very big problem. But you should get the data that shows this is why this is a problem, not a larger number. You know what I mean?
Okay, and this will be our last question.
So my kind of question, suggestion, comment would be, especially due to the high price of the pods, and then also the fact that with the amount of students we have and the amount of students that would like, even though like I live in ARC, but you know, if I was on campus and I would want to nap in a pod, like it's on campus, that would be more convenient. Potentially looking into expanding the space of the adult and commuter office, especially because of how much traffic it gets. If you put it like, if it were to move into an area similar to the loft, then there can be a section for people who want to study, and then also like more of like the napping nook. So like with the cots or like bean bags where there's more volume can come in instead of the pricier option of trying to get the pods just because they're cool and they come with a cover. So that would just kind of be my suggestion.
Okay, thanks, you guys.
Hi, this is the SGA project. This is our intern project for the visibility of the senators and the awareness project. My name is Lance Su.
I'm Sam Brown.
And I'm Anta Malik. And you can click to the next slide. Thank you. So the issue here that we're presenting is that most students on campus are unaware of who their senators are in their respective colleges, or even commissioned senators. They just don't know who they are, who to approach their problems to. So that can just lead to a lot of frustration among constituents, and they have all these issues that will just never be addressed because they don't know the right person to bring them to. And also, we also wanted to address, while there is a lot of interaction between senators and constituents, I've heard y'all talk about, increasing the interaction and trying to get more interaction with students and get your name out there and let them know who y'all are. A lot of students aren't really aware of what SGA is or have a lack of knowledge of what it's all about. So if they don't know what it's about and they aren't aware of like what y'all can do for them, then they're not going to be as willing to get to know their senators.
So to actually gauge how many people actually know what the senators do and who represents them, we conducted a survey out of 122 students in gen ed classes and also random surveys around the campus to see, who do you really know who represents you, and do you know what the senators do? So for our first survey, we found out that 85% of students don't actually know who represents them, and around 15% have some idea who actually represents them. So we can clearly see that the majority of students don't actually know who represents them, which is an issue. And on the next slide, 92% of students don't know what senators do, and only 7% know what senators actually do. And we think they think they know what they do, because there are a lot of things senators can do, and we don't really expect them to know everything that they actually have the scope of doing.
So my first point is bullet point is a little bit poorly worded, because I don't mean to say that there's a lack of communication. We believe, rather, that there should be a little bit more on where events such as this are taking place, because while the event is announced, we feel that there should be a bit stronger of a presence as the SGA, because these are very important meetings where students and the senators get to talk about what is going on around campus and what you all are doing, and we just believe that there should be a little bit more advertisement, I guess, on where these are happening and when. And as we've already stated, a lot of students don't know what the SGA can do or even what they are. I know that before I even joined as an intern, I didn't even really think that there was an SGA. I'd seen The Office, but it just never clicked, I suppose. And I was talking to my sister, who is a senior here. She's been here for about 4.5 years. She is an IT major. I don't know if that's actually involved in you at all. Sorry, that's you. And when I was talking to her and told her that I joined the SGA as an intern, she actually didn't even know that we had an SGA either. And you all have actually done an amazing job improving that by going out and talking to your constituents, by tabling and such things, which is amazing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, next slide. I got goals too. So what we really want to aim to do with our project is increase the students' awareness of who their senators are and what they can do, as well as increase the students' involvement in SGA. Hopefully, we'll be able to have meetings here and the seats will be full of students. That's a high goal, yeah. We just really want to increase the students' I suppose, knowledge of the SGA in general and allow better communication between senators and their constituents. Yeah, pretty much what I've already said.
Thank you. So a few possible solutions we'd like to propose for this issue is to put up pictures of the respective senator for each college in their college or in that building, in high traffic areas where students would most likely to be able to see them, along with maybe a little description of, you know, who they are, their name, what they can do for their students, and just a little biography, or not like a biography, but just like a little description of who they are. But for senators who don't have a specific college, so commission senators, we would propose to put that in the student center because that is where a lot of our students go, and they would most likely be able to see it there, or we could put it in that respective office. Also, we wanted to propose that sending out emails, whether that be school-wide or just to to a specific constituency or college, to just kind of like tell which senator belongs to which college, and just to kind of promote different events within SGA so that students are more and well aware of what those events are and if they can go. Because a lot of the times, students won't really seek out different opportunities. They'll wait for it to come to them before they decide to be interested or make a move. In addition to that, after elections or senator elections, a link could be provided in the daily student newsletter. Most of the time, a lot of people do check that, so that'd be the best way to reach a lot of students because that does get to every single email. But hopefully, but right. But like we could send out a link in the daily student newsletter so that they could just easily click on it instead of having to go onto the website and having to seek out that information themselves. And I just had to say a few more things about the other side. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff on there. And then lastly, advertising voting season, because again, a lot of students don't know that they can vote for SGA, and I believe under 5% of the student population even votes for their senators or even the e-board of SGA, and that's who y'all represent. So making sure, yes. Yeah.
To be a bit more specific, I was talking to President Brand, and we, last year, 1,234 people voted in the presidential election for KSU. Thank you for confirming that, which was about 2-ish% of the student population at the time.
So advertising voting season would be really relevant to helping students be more involved and, you know, care about who or what SGA is. And then lastly, advertising the time and location of general body meetings, just to get that information out there and let students and constituents know exactly when these meetings would be so that they're more likely and inclined to go.
To wrap up the rest of our presentation, we acknowledged a few issues with our approach. Firstly, with emails, and a lot of students don't really read their emails, so it could just ignore any of the things that we send in emails. Also, I know a lot of students are too busy or are just not interested in being involved in SGA, so a lot of people won't go to meetings like this, or they won't really want to go to meetings like this, maybe because of other things to do. And the final problem is that students, they don't know a lot about the senators. They won't really read the bylaws or anything to know what senators do. So very likely, if we put up there that, you know, this is your senator, they represent you, they can help you solve problems and things like that, they'll only go to senators if they need something fixed because they don't know everything else a senator can do. So I'd like to open up the floor to any questions. Wait, before that.
Can we go back to the possible solutions? Okay. Vice President Bradford, I am not a mean person, by the way. I'm going to preface it with that. All right, so putting pictures and posters of senators in their respective color, great idea. I know the Coles College of Business currently does that, and we're going to try, that's an amazing idea. We're going to try to make that universal. Commission senators in student office, great idea. Sending out, okay, look, the emails. So students hate emails, I'm sorry. So I would take out that bullet point because we do send out information that is easily digestible to the students primarily through social media, and the social media has doubled or tripled, quadrupled maybe this year. After election, sending out through the daily newsletter. The daily newsletter, yeah, no, yeah, it's just people don't. Advertising voting season. Voting season was advertised last year a lot more than it was before, and it also just depends on who's running. So say, for example, you have Senator Whitaker. Senator Whitaker is one of the more popular people on campus. Of course, he's going to get a whole bunch of votes. So it's just depends on who's running and how we as a whole are promoting it. Also, as I said before, the social media quadrupled this year, so we're expecting a bigger turnout with that. Advertising time and location of SGA general body meetings, we do that every week. Yeah, so it's just I like the idea, but it's just checking, checking through your sources and checking okay, maybe they already do that, maybe that's the thing that's already happening, and do students really like more emails? Do you read your email? You read your email? See, you're one of those outliers. That's great. So it's just I read my emails, but I know that student body typically will not read more emails, you know what I mean? But other than that, yeah, cool.
Before we get to questions, I want to address some of the things you said, Rick, because a lot of those are really good points that we'd already foreseen. But when I was talking about advertising voting season and the time and location, I didn't mean just advertising in general because I know that, or we know that they're already advertised. But I meant taking a more aggressive stance, for lack of a better word, on advertising them, if you would like to.
Oh, my bad. Real quick. Okay, so awesome, that's great. But what I would do, specifically, what would you do different? You know what I mean? When you do possible solutions, not a general thing, but more in detailed, what would you do? You know what I mean? Just for future reference, but yeah, I get you.
Thank you very much.
Senate Lead Benitez. I would like to just, fellow ex-intern to other interns, I would like to just point a few pointers out there. Something I learned in my intern program is to not say all students when really it's a very small portion of students that you are surveying, because I think I heard the number was 122 students responses, and it was said that all students don't know, or a majority of students know. So maybe that's just something before y'all are presenting, making sure everyone's on the same page of stuff. And then also I would like it to say that SGA this year, this is the most visible I've ever seen SGA, and this is coming from being my third year in the program. I would like to say a huge shout out to communications, because our social media is doing numbers this term and everything. And then also, students, let me think about how to say this. So the information is out there, but correct. So think about this. Think about if everyone in this room wasn't an SGA, didn't know anything about it. If I hear I have a problem, then yes, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna look for that information. But if I don't have a problem, or if I don't think it's big enough, then I'm not gonna look for it, and I'm not gonna openly randomly think of looking up student government and stuff like that. And then even if I do, we have meeting minutes posted. We have all of our meetings recorded, and those are posted onto our Kennesaw State YouTube channel. So the information is out there. It's just a matter of students taking that initiative to go and find the information, which honestly, as college students, we're pretty lazy. We want easy A's. We want stuff to be handed to us on a golden platter. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents, but I really good job presenting and everything, so.
Yeah, let's go. I'll come back to you, sorry. Senator Coley.
Hello. I just want to say that I think that the topic that you chose is quite frankly amazing. I really do think that this is something that a lot of the people in the 37,000 students that we have, that it is really important that they know that we're here and that we do represent them. And like they were saying, like Senate Lead Benitez was just saying, that the information is out there for them if they need it. And she brought up a really good point that I've never even thought of, that sometimes it's just not that deep for them. It's not that really important to them, so they don't reach out. But I think that another good route that you can take with your project is not only just exposure to the Senate, but also kind of like engaging them in the process of changing things, or just having a really great time with us, because we do represent them. We have a lot of great events that we throw for them. We have a lot of free food for them. Just really getting to know them as our constituents. So those are some things I would say to not only just let them know who we are, but also let them know like what we can do for them. That's not just fixing up one of their problems, but also just giving them other opportunities.
I completely agree. I think senators should do more than just solve problems. So this is a good way to do that. Senator Martin, thank you for being so patient.
Okay, I promise I'll be quick. I won't touch on anything anyone else said. I do want to pat myself on the back, though, because I also am on OWL TV in Wellstar College. Y'all just don't go in there. Something that I just wanted to bring up, though, and I know this because I ran for Homecoming Queen, we were not allowed to send out links to people. Like, it was literally, like, specifically, like, forbidden. So that initiative might not be possible. I've never run for SGA. I don't know if that's against the rules, but just keep that in mind. And then last thing, and it's kind of been touched on, but I just want to like add this little 2 cent that like, it's not that people don't know, it's that they don't care. So if this is the initiative that we're sticking with, like maybe we should turn it into why should people care about SGA, not why do we need to know their faces.
I'd like to point, thank you very much. And about that link thing, it's very good to know that we might come into that. But we did mention at one point that people don't understand the SGA. And what it is and what it can do. And that's part of the reason why people don't care. We believe that that's part of the reason why people don't care, because they don't understand what this is. And you're not going to care about something that you don't understand. And I think.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I didn't think I'd get the mic. So I'm Erin Delaney. I was an SGA for 3 years, and this past March, April, May, I actually was the elections committee chair. So everyone who is elected, congrats. It's great to see you guys doing great. But kind of focusing mainly on that elections portion, because everyone's kind of touched on other things. There are so many rules. Like, being elections chair was so stressful because there's just so many rules about who can advertise what, how you advertise, things have to get approved. And it's for protecting everyone who's running, it's for protecting me, it's for protecting SGA. So I think when you say you want to take those aggressive routes, you probably cannot do that. And so I think it's just, you have to be careful with that. And I know you say that the election was only 2%, but that's the most that SGA election has gotten in I don't even know how long. And I don't want to like get on a soapbox and toot my own horn, but I've been an SGA for 3 years. My brother also came to Kennesaw. He was an SGA for 4 years, so I kind of know the SGA bloodline for the past about 7 to 10 years. And so it's like this elections, although you say some people don't know, there's really not much else we could have done because SGA itself also is not allowed to promote any candidate itself. It can only say you have to vote. We can't say, this person's running, it's strictly doing this. And we've implemented so many new opportunities, such as the debates, such as tabling. So I think when you want to do that, you just need to be really careful. And that's why they have the elections committee, because that's what their job is. And I think you should bring up those concerns to them, but there's all these other committees and all these other subparts that you should be aware of before you start wanting to take the bull by the horn.
So I think you're going to be our last question because we got to wrap it up pretty soon. But I'd like to point out that, we did talk very briefly with Director Hale about the election bylaws, and we have seen that pretty much nobody can advertise except for somebody advertising for themselves to be elected president. And so we touched very briefly with Director Hale about getting another organization on campus to advertise for the SGA, as the SGA isn't able to do that. Is that still not allowed? Okay. Yes. Because we are allowed to. All right. Thank you very much for the information. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Thank you so much, guys. Just one little thing before we move on to the next. Well, two little things. First of all, actually, something that we're talking to Student Affairs about is currently having them advertising the elections. So that's one thing that we're looking into, to have an external organization advertise the elections. Second of all, due to having one more project to present, as well as a nomination to do, I would like to look favorably upon a motion to extend the meeting by 30 minutes. No, we need the 30 minutes. We need the 30 minutes, believe me. Okay, is there a motion on the floor at this time? Senator Reyes?
I move to extend the meeting for 30 minutes.
That is in order. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Profit. We probably won't use up the full 30 minutes, by the way. All those in favor? Fair. All those opposed? All abstentions? This does fail. Is there another motion on the floor at this time? Treasurer Har?
I move to extend the meeting by 20 minutes.
That is in order. Do we have a second? Seconded by Vice President Bradford. All in favor? Y'all, we need to extend this meeting, otherwise we're going to run out of time and we're going to just wrap up the meeting this time. All opposed? Any abstentions? This does pass. Thank you. We will not use up the full 20 minutes, I can assure you. All right, next group.
It's too crowded. It's too damn crowded.
Hi, this is our intern project. Unfortunately, intern blank was not able to make it.
So I know you guys all want to get out of here very quickly, but I'm still going to try to get through this presentation. So we're going to start it off with putting it into perspective. And what we have up there is the KSU's mission statement. And I'm not going to read the whole mission statement to you guys. However, I do want to highlight the student-centered and research-driven university education, which is part of KSU's goals. And the key takeaway is that KSU is focused towards being student-oriented, and especially our president, President Whitten. And with being focused of being student-oriented and research-driven, KSU also wishes to compete at the same level that UGA, Georgia Tech, other schools that are around us that are in Georgia. So with that, we beg to question that is KSU providing the same resources as other schools? And specifically with those resources, we're talking about the library and having the proper library hours or extending those library hours when needed. And go back. And I do want to point out that the library is the primary research hub of the school. It's the hub where everything basically happens, where students do their work, and so that's why it's a key issue for us to focus on.
Okay, so overall we had 146 people participate, and we did a Google form. We weren't really targeting specifically underclassmen or upperclassmen. We were kind of just looking more towards Kennesaw Campus, but we did have a lot of people participate from Marietta Campus because we're working towards getting the Kennesaw Campus libraries extended. We used several different group me's, including like the intern and business and everything.
And we also were around campus, specifically in the library, asking people who were there how they would feel about it and if they think it would improve their grades or anything like that. Next slide, please. Okay, and one of the questions we asked was, what time do you do your schoolwork? Personally, I am mostly productive literally in the middle of the night. But a lot of people voted for in the evening and late night and between like 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And then as far as where do you study, a lot of people did say home and dorm, specifically because if a lot of people are studying late at night or later in the evening, the library isn't open. So they're going to be studying at home or at their dorm.
So the library currently, the days are changed because obviously there's less students in the weekends. However, when we did our survey, right, we asked when do students actually study or do their schoolwork. And although the library does close on the weekends, students continue to do the work on the weekends. You know, those Sunday nights where you have that quiz due at 12. So we asked the question of what days do you study / do your schoolwork, and there's a small sliver that said neither. However, over almost 120 students said both weekdays and weekends. And you can see roughly, like out of the 146 students we surveyed, like 21-ish said the weekday, and approximately like about 5 said the weekends. But mostly you can see that students do study in both. So.
And in the survey, we asked what factors prevent students from studying. And the number one response was social and personal factors, but that seems like more of a personal issue. So we wanted to tackle, we wanted to tackle more of the, like not having the quiet workplace available or library hours. And since most students are studying in their dorms, I assume it's not always gonna be quiet. You have dorm mates and roommates. And we want to tackle that because if you have all those chattering, you can't focus, it's loud, and you can't study to do your work. The library is not open if you're a late night studier, as we saw in the previous slide.
And I want to add on to the slide. It says when students filled the slide out, it was a fill in the blank questionnaire question. And can you go back to that one? So it was a fill in the blank, right? And we got answers in social and personal factors. These answers varied from girls and distractions, phone, other things like that, procrastination. However, with all these social and personal factors, we noted that the largest section is social and personal. However, if you take into account the not quiet like work area available and library hours, meaning the library hours not being sufficient, if you add those two categories together, it does equal the social and personal factors roughly. So that's can be fixed by having the library hours extended. These are the current library hours that we have here on Kennesaw Campus.
And then we posted the library hours above the forum and then asked students if these hours worked for them. And most students said, no, they don't. But we also had a category if they don't care about the library because they're not part of what we want to target. And we saw that most students, the hours don't work for them. And the number one response for why it doesn't work for them is because it closes too early.
And this last question was, it was a question we threw in at the end. It was kind of a little biased, but we wanted to see how favorable students would be to having a library that runs 24/7. And so we asked the question, how favorable on a scale of 1 to 10? And as you can see, the majority of the responses, the last end of the spectrum was extremely favorable, and the first one was like not favorable at all. And the average out of all the responses that we got was a 9, which is really close to extremely favorable. So.
And then we tried contacting Kathy Reinster, who drives the library, and then the Dean of Libraries. I have contacted Kathy. We were supposed to meet this week, but she hasn't responded back, so that has been postponed. And I can get you more of the information we talk about. I will share it with Director Hale, and then she can spread it all to you.
Yeah, and I also want to add on that with David Evans, we did work closely with the Senator for Science and Mathematics and Science of Engineering and Engineering Technologies, sorry. And basically, since Senator Coakley has worked with David Evans in the past, he did get the library hours extended to 12. David Evans is a person who really does care about this agenda. Like, he wants to have the library 24/7. However, he needs initiatives like this with data to back up the initiative. So David Evans is full on board with this project, and he does want to have the library 24/7. So.
Okay, and our solution, the problem is that KSU isn't providing the right resource for students to have like a successful study place. Currently, the study, if any of you know, it's the Commons. I have a friend that used to work there overnight. He was a police officer, and he said it doesn't get a lot of traffic, and it wasn't that popular. But we want to move away from that to the library is because in psychology, if you didn't know, like the places you do stuff repeatedly is what you want to do. So when you're in the Commons, you're going to want to eat. When you're in your dorm, you're going to want to sleep. And the library is the safe place to study. And our solution was to keep the library open. The monetary cost, as so far, what we want to do is, since there's already a guard at the study at the Commons, we want to take that guard to watch over the library and just have like one guard there and watch over him. So if we're able to just get that one guard, it would be no additional monetary cost to KSU.
And we do realize that the monetary cost to having the full library running 24/7 is great. So we are planning to just have it as a study space. So therefore, that means no staffing to require checking out books, assistance with printers, any sort of assistance like that. And it's also going to be just, hopefully, it might be just the first 2 floors, so that the whole entire library doesn't have to be running with AC or in the winter heat or any power. And one thing that I do want to add on, that with the security guard, we took that example from Georgia Tech's campus, and I have a friend who goes there, and she basically explained to me that the reason why they have a 24/7 library is because of the environment that they have there and the culture. It's a study culture, it's a school of excellence where they value academia. And if we want to move to a school like that and move towards being a school like that, we have to have those resources available to them. If they're going to move towards, having more difficult classes, then we need to have a space available for them to study late at night and do their work if it becomes extensive like that. So that library is there because of the culture that they have. And yeah. So now we have any questions? No questions? 3 questions, okay. Senator Cook.
Cool, Senator Coakley. Big fan of the presentation. I do have a question though. Was there any consideration put towards this as far as the Marietta campus goes?
Well, not really, because this is our project was based for the Kennesaw campus. However, once we do, this is like a test run. Once we see what happens here on the Kennesaw campus, we will definitely try to extend that resource to the Marietta campus. Since that campus is more engineering, then we would love to have that for that campus too, with the same initiatives that we have here. Senator Jones.
I'm Senator Whitaker right now. He says he actually researched this, and you have to see about paying to keep the lights on for the library during that time. He said if we can find a way to get around that, then it will work. Also, making sure students are safe and being able to be sure we can have the security there for 24 hours.
So the only staffing that we did say that we did need was a security guard, and also we all have student IDs. So the only way to get into the library would be by scanning your student ID at the door, because they have that spot, and that would unlock the library, and that's where the security guard would come into play. Also, Kathy Rexsteiner, she was supposed to get in touch with us over how much the cost of the lights and all that stuff were going to be, so we will keep you updated in the future for that.
All right, thank you so much. As you can see, the interns put a lot of work into these projects, so thank you all so much for all the hard work. They were fantastic. And now, at this time, we'll move into our last piece of new business, which is our nomination for the University College Senate seat. So, Dylan, if you'd like to come forward. You could get him a mic also.
Where do you want me to stand? Just on the floor? Okay.
Yes. All right, if you would like to face the Senate, and that's Senate that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not you guys.
Yeah. If you want to back up a little bit too, just for the camera. All right. So that's good. If you want to tell us, first of all, which seat you're running for, why you're interested in SGA, and why you're interested in that position in particular.
So, like you said, University College. So I don't have any experience with the integrated studies majors or anything like that, but I am a transfer student. I've been to 3 colleges. So I have a very vested interest in the improvement of transfer students' well-being across the board here. And one of the things I was thinking about as I was sitting there, some of these presentations are focused on student mental health and all that stuff. As a transfer student, I have obviously more than 30 hours of credits. They just plop you in and they say, here you go, here's all our systems, we're not gonna tell you how they work. And you just gotta figure it out. So, and that was true at other colleges, that's definitely true here at Kennesaw. So I'm not biased towards any department, but I will be focused on addressing that because there's nothing in place for that as far as I'm aware. So.
All right. Are there any questions from the Senate? Stanley Benitez.
Senate Lead Benitez, I just have a question on if you have any plans on interacting with other constituents under University College, because that, I'm not sure if many people know, is the only college that truly follows you from orientation to graduation. So a lot of constituents are underneath that college, so I'm just wondering if you have any plans on how to reach out to them and what some initiatives you may have for the upcoming semester.
No, well, to be perfectly honest with you, I've only been an on-campus student for about 19 days. But I have been a part of the university for a couple of years. I'm a cybersecurity student, so it's all online. I'll get in contact with the heads of those departments and get familiar with what they are, what they do. I just am already familiar with the transfer students and the orientations and everything. I actually had a friend who used to work for the orientation staff get me up to speed with how everything works. That's how I knew. But so that,
Who's your friend?
Austin Woods.
Okay.
He's a Marietta campus guy,
Yeah,
so.
I know who he is.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
So I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
Austin does that to people.
All right. Are there any other questions at this time? Senator Jones?
Just for clarification, your major is cybersecurity?
Yes.
That's right, and that's in University College?
No, actually, a question I was going to field to the e-board later. It's its own thing. It's a cybersecurity workforce development.
But it's under University College?
No.
Transfer students are, though.
Transfer students are, yes.
Okay, I'm in.
Yes.
University College is a bit of an odd college in that sense. Yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, the cybersecurity workforce development has no representation here. So, yeah.
All right. Director Hill?
Okay, I know I ask this question to people every single time, but describe a time in which you had to give some difficult feedback.
Difficult feedback.
Yeah, give some.
As I was explaining yesterday to President Brand, I work with my dad, who's a lawyer, and he also does mediation on the side. I don't do the mediations because I'm not a licensed mediator, but I assist in them. Part of mediation is, so obviously 2 parties start vehemently disagreeing. You have to bring them to the middle. You have to get them, you have to calm their tempers, all that stuff. But sometimes when mediations end, the scales are tipped slightly towards one party or the other, and getting the party that's disaffected a little bit to accept those results is definitely very difficult. And I like to say effective in addressing that, I hope.
All right, perfect. Sorry, I always ask that because as a member of SGA, you are going to have to say some difficult things to higher ups that just to instill some change.
Of course.
Thank you. And for the sake of time, we're going to take one more question. Senator Vance.
Hi, Senator for Registered Student Organizations. So I am currently a student assistant at the University College Advising Center. So how do you think that you could help the advising center? Because we get a lot of calls like from students that don't know who their advisor is, and it's like every day we're getting calls from people that are supposed to be in the business college or supposed to be in humanities, and a lot of people don't know who their, like what the steps are. They just think that university college is like a one-stop shop for everything when it's not. So how could you try to fix that problem or address it?
I'd like to say that students not knowing parts of the college is a university-wide problem, not just that. But I think more in-your-face engagement, like actually tabling or some on-campus present event where there's a lot of foot traffic, and raising awareness, maybe making pamphlets, handing them out, That's a lot more effective. As mentioned before, the email campaigns do nothing, so that could work. I have to look into it, but yeah.
All right. Did we just have one more question? Or, okay, Senator Coley.
Thank you so much. My question was, how long have you been a student here at KSU? I know you said you're a transfer student from 3 different schools.
2 years.
Okay. With that, we'd like to go ahead and move to discussion. So if you would please hand off your mic, and if you would just step outside the room and wait just outside the doors while we have a moment for discussion. All right, thank you. And just on the case of time, if y'all are fast, we can do it. Otherwise, we might have to ask for another 5-minute extension. But so, incentive to be fast. Oh my. Okay. Is there any discussion on the floor at this time? No discussion. All right. Is there a motion on the floor at this time? Treasurer Har.
I move to approve this candidate.
That is in order. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Taylor. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? That is in order. This does pass. If you please bring him back into the room. Drum roll. Congratulations, Senator Webster. All right. If you could please come over here with me at this time, and we will go ahead and swear you in with our last remaining minutes. No, right here. No, you can just face that way. All right. Please raise your right hand and say, I state your full name.
I, Dylan Webster,
Do solemnly promise
do solemnly promise
to uphold the Constitution
to uphold the Constitution
of the student government of Kennesaw State University,
of the student government of Kennesaw State University,
and to faithfully execute the office of state the office.
and faithfully execute the office of the University College.
I pledge to represent the interests of the students
I pledge to represent the interest of the students
over my own self-interests
over my own self-interest
in matters concerning the organization.
in matters concerning
I will make every effort to be available
I will make every effort to be available
to listen to the concerns of students
to listen to the concerns of students
and to respond to those concerns
and to respond to those concerns
as I seek to carry out my duties.
as I seek to carry out my duties.
Congratulations. If you want to go and have a seat with the Senate, and take some seats. All right. With that, we have announcements. If we can keep them very brief, this is non-SGA related news. Senator Coley, speak once. We have 2 minutes. Go fast.
First of all, don't be rude. I just want to say really fast, thank you guys so much for your support for me going to get my internship. It was really nice to wake up in the morning and see all the messages. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Just to let you know, your boy will be interning at the Capitol in spring. So thank you so much for all your support, and I love all of you guys, everyone here. Thank you so much.
All right.
End of announcement.
Thank you. Is there anything else for announcements? What's that? Oh, fair enough. By the way, after we adjourn, Director Watkins is going to have an announcement, so please remain in your seats after we adjourn. However, is there a motion on the floor this time? Senator Abdul.
Wait, what do I say? I move to adjourn the meeting.
That is in order. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Martin. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? This does pass.